Hey guys, so I'm going to try and kill two birds with one stone here. I posted a video on the scan and cut yesterday with this image not working for me because the lines were so thin. So one of my subscribers, or one of the viewers of the video, said why not try to emboss it first and maybe that will help. A little afraid to do that, but I'm going to try it, and I'm going to actually put a piece of plastic sheet over the image as I scan it. So my concern was maybe getting some of that embossing powder that's loose into the machine as it scans, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to try something to do that. But also, some of my subscribers are asking about the new heat tool that I got, which is the Milwaukee, sorry guys, the Milwaukee brand heat gun that I purchased a week ago from Simon Says Stamp. This is the same gun that Jennifer McGuire recommends, and because she had this on one of her videos, they were also discounted at Simon Says. I don't think that discount is still active though. So I've used my embossing buddy. I'm going to use my VersaMark ink to stamp the image. And of course, this is the image I'm going to use. I'm going to use my Fisker stamp press, the small one, to do that. So I'm just inking up really well the stamped image. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down. Let me close my ink pad. Here on this corner of the gun. And I've already done two images that are Stamping Bella images as well, just to see if those would get picked up, because I didn't try them last time. So now I'm going to sprinkle my embossing powder, which is Zing. It's the opaque black. And you probably can't see the image right now, but you will in a second. This is a pretty large image, I would think, compared to the other images they have that Stamping Bella has. And so let me go ahead and get that extra off. And I've got a little bit missing off the top, so let me just see if I can get that. Okay, so here is the image, and I'm going to just put this aside for a second while I get this embossing powder back into the bottle, so I can put that off to the side. I don't want to spill that, because that would be not good. Sorry guys, you have to watch me do this. Okay, so cap back on, and I will move that out of the way. So one of the things that I've always done with my Martha Stewart heat gun, which works perfectly fine, it just isn't as fast, and it blows a lot of hot air. This gun is supposed to heat very quickly, and also it doesn't blow a lot of air, and that is very true because I've already tried it on the two images to the right. And I'm going to go ahead and do this on camera, even with all of the noise, so that you all can see, hopefully. And let me adjust the light maybe a little bit too. Hopefully you all can see it as it's melting, and it's not too loud for you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the gun now and melt the embossing powder. So you can see I'm moving around the image now because it is melting very quickly. And it's very hot. Okay, I think I'm done. And you can see it. I might want to do this section. Okay, so this is the Stamping Bella image with the black opaque black embossing powder on top of it. And you can see that I did not stamp very well right here, which is probably going to show up when I scan it. It's probably not going to show up very well. And so that's just get you looking at, and I can show you in the glare where the embossing powder is very faint. So yeah, if you can look at that glare, that little piece right up in here is probably not got enough embossing powder because my stamped image wasn't very good. But this is more for demo purposes anyway. And then here's the other two that I did, and they are already embossed. Now, one of the things that I have realized is obviously because the gun heats a lot faster, the tip of the gun, which is metal, is very hot. So you want to be careful, you know, touching that. You don't want to touch that while it's still hot. And so I'm going to set it over to the side where I keep my tools. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan all three of these images in and see if the scan and cut will actually pick them up. The lines are, I would say they're probably pretty much the same thickness. So let's go ahead and see if it works. Okay. So I did this step off camera, but what I did was took the image and stuck it down with some of the Post-it tape to my cutting mat. And this is the Brother cutting mat that comes with the machine. It's the low-tack cutting mat. And actually my cutting mat is not as sticky as it used to be. I have run it through just a few times, but I know tricks to make this mat sticky again. I did buy an extra mat, and I believe they're $15.99 or something like that on Amazon. So I did pick up an extra mat, but I don't want to open it yet. So the other thing I have done, just to ensure that none of the embossing powder that may not have melted gets into my machine, is I've taken a 12 by 12 transparency sheet. You can kind of see it because there's glare. See? I've taken that and stuck that down to the mat too, over top of my image. And I know that I smudged the image right here. So I just want everybody to know that that's what I've done. I'm not condoning you doing this just because I don't want you to mess up your machine, but I'm going to try it. I think it's going to be fairly safe to do this because I put this transparency over top. But I want to try it out to see if this will help me get some of these images to get picked up. So we're going to try it out. I'm not going to show you using the machine. Just to kind of skip that step because it's hard for me to get a good angle. But I'll come back with the cut images. I'm back, and I have noticed a couple of things. So I did do the scan. After the scan, I took off that transparent sheet so that I could cut the actual image on the paper. Here's what happened. And I know this because when you scan it, you can see what areas that it's picked up. It did pick up this image. So thank you to, I can't remember the subscriber's name or the viewer who suggested this, but I'll put her name up on the video because I think I owe her some thanks for that. It did help pick up the stamping billet image, but it did not pick up these very well. These are smaller images, and maybe if I retry this in a different way, it might be able to pick these up. I'll show you what happened as I peel off the images from the backing. Okay, so again, I've just held it down with some Post-it paper, some Post-it paper tape. And I did not do an offset for this image. I just cut around, let it cut around without doing that offset. And it looks like it could be stuck a little bit, so I'm going to just be very careful. Because there's that curl that's stuck. And I don't want to rip it. Because this kind of cut right here is where I go wrong when I'm fussy cutting. I always, always, always end up lopping off that little piece, and I didn't do it now, and I will need to work on this, but look guys, I now have this image which I showed you in a previous video that I couldn't cut because of the embossing powder. And so now if I color this with my Copics, I can use this on a card. And it did pick up this little piece right here, which I missed with the embossing powder. Okay, so there's the image, and I wish I could show you this. Maybe I can show it to you like this. There we go. A little post-it note goes a long way, right? So there's the little tendrils, and I have to cut this a little bit because I just peeled it up. I didn't want to rip that little tendril there. But you can see that it's got this area cut, and it did very nicely around the dress. This is where I smudged it. No big deal. So that is what the results are for the Stamping Bella stamp with the black embossing powder. So thank you to one of my viewers for suggesting that. I didn't think that that was going to work out very well. And there isn't anything on my mat. One thing I do notice is that when you emboss, because of the heat, obviously most of you know this, that it makes the paper kind of wavy. So that is another thing that I was worried about. I taped it down really well, and there's actually another piece of tape right here because I saw that when I was getting ready to do the cut, and I wanted to make sure that this little edge of the paper didn't get caught up in the machine. So that is one of the things that I did off camera before I actually cut the image. So here is the other two images that I attempted to cut, and you can see what happened here. The scanner picked up her face as a place to cut. See? It didn't pick up the outline. I did this because I wanted you to see what happens sometimes when you do this. So it didn't pick these two up as well, and maybe I just have to do some fiddling with it, or maybe I need to scan it into my printer and make the image larger, you know, do some messing around. But it is possible to get better images. And I said this before, it has to do with the way you're scanning it, and you know how dark the lines are and how thin they are, that kind of thing. So thank you to my subscriber that did or viewer that did mention that to me. One of the things that, and I don't know if you all know this, I have a dog, and he has a lot of hair. He sheds a lot because he's a husky. That's what they do. I dropped my cover sheet on the floor, and it picked up all of his hair because he sleeps in here sometimes. I took a lint brush to my plastic cover that goes on top of this, because you know those things are really staticky. I just took a lint brush to it. You can do the same to the mat too, if you get, you know, little hairs or something to pick up off of it that you can't seem to get off with your nail or whatever. I have some lint on here. You can see it here. I just use a lint brush, one of those sticky ones that are, you know, rolled up on a tape dispenser thing. So that's what I use to remove lint from my mats. So that's just, I guess, a demo of both the Milwaukee heat gun, which I do like. It's really fast. It's really hot, too. And it doesn't blow the air, just like she was saying, Jennifer McGuire was saying. And I do like the fact that now I can get that Stamping Bella image to cut through my new toy that I have. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you liked this video. And I appreciate all of your comments. I hope that you all are getting some use from these videos, because I know spending a lot of money on a new machine is probably not practical, especially at Christmas time. But as crafters, I've been searching for this type of machine for a long time. I really do regret buying my Silhouette now, because I have a Cricut, and I love the Cricut. That's just a machine that I'm comfortable using. The Cameo, or the Portrait, I bought simply because I wanted to do what this machine does, and there wasn't a machine out there on the market that did that I know of. And so I'm really happy with my purchase. I'm not saying go out and buy this machine, because, you know, it's a lot of money. But if you're in the market for something that's a little bit easier to use than, say, the Cameo in cutting out your stamped images, this is it. It's very easy to use. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or maybe you can make some more suggestions for me, I'd be happy to take it on. Thanks for watching. Bye.